Okay.
Give me my phone. I need to call Netflix right now.
I want to see it in Korea.
Hello, this is Afro Had a Pop Review. My name is Josh.
And my name is Hesu.
Welcome! In 2022, Netflix teamed up with UNESCO to produce 6 short films in Africa under the banner of African Folktales Reimagined.
Now it's available on Netflix. So today we are going to talk about this.
And the first one on the list is Katera of the Punishment Island by Lukman Ali from Uganda. Now, this film tells the story of a young girl banished to a lonely island for having a child out of wedlock. Think about it. That's super mean, right? Anyway, she returns to take revenge on the powerful man who sent her to that island.
Yeah, it's a really revenge film. And you can see how director combined Western genre into African settings. So you can feel these some dynamic flip-flops of the scenes and the rhythms. It's really tangible.
Personally, this is my favorite film out of the 6 films because of the cinematography is quite beautiful to look at and the narrative is easy to follow.
So the second film is Halima's Choice by Korede Aziz from Nigeria. And the storyline is most of the world population uploaded into virtual worlds, and there is a young girl from a secluded Fulani village elopes with an AI to escape an arranged marriage. Yeah, it shows these futuristic buildings and environment settings. Metaverse, it's kind of hot potato these days. And in this film, you can see how they connect to this virtual lens and how to connect their identities and environment. You can see the glimpse of how African culture can combine these futuristic settings. You can see the conflict between this futuristic place and also still traditional convention.
Yeah, it's clear in the film that most of the world actually, decided to move into that futuristic part. And then we have this small minority that resisted change and they still live the same way they were like many years ago. And it's in this small community that resisted change that we see this lead character, but we don't see clearly what it means. Is it a good thing to change? That one we don't see clearly in this film, but anyway, that's what you find in this nice short film from Nigeria.
Yeah, that's a kind of message from director, I think.
Yeah.
So it's questions mark leaves that for the audience, so we can still think about that.
The third film is from my country, Kenya, by Volin Ogutu. It's called Anyango and the Ogre. It shows a 13-year-old boy called Otis who's trying to protect his siblings from an enemy who's right there at home. This film is based on an actual folktale in Kenya, but I had some issues in it. It shows a father who is abusive, but we don't really see the source of his aggression towards his own family.
Yeah, the character of himself.
Yeah. So I thought that kind of was lacking, even though the subject is a good thing, but we don't see the root cause of why this violence happened. Anyway, that's what we have in this film.
There is a gap between the rich and poor, and it was shown through the difference of color. That's the main key fact of the environment in the film, but in the end, it doesn't change much. And the character looks like still passive. So it shows a reality of the current issues, I think. And it also led me to think about, like, is that the way how Kenyan think about the...
Me too, even as a Kenyan, I'm like, oh, is it always like that? We expected more from the director, but anyway, it is what it is. And one takeaway, if you're from Kenya and you liked Tahidi High, Sarah Hassan is the lead character in this film, and the film is also shot by the famous Enos Olik. So if you're from Kenya, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, all the Avengers are in the team.
Yeah. The fourth film is Enmity Gene by Mohamed Ekuna from Mauritania.
In the film, you can see these abstract moments a lot when genes came out, and every single shot, like how the film depicts this demon. It's quite like a work of photography with aligned frames with a different angle. So it's quite experimental to see in the film. And also it reminds me of the different demons from different films, like you can see the Gaunasi from Fade Away in Eastern Asia animations, and also Dementor from Harry Potter's. So it shows some similarities, but in this film, it has their own cultural elements on their mask. So you can see those difference and uniqueness of these characters.
Yeah, and the story of Jinn is also popular in East Africa, and it's always assumed to be a spirit that exists within, in the real world and influences people towards bad sometimes. They could be evil, and this film, I think, explores that kind of imagination. So if you are into that kind of genre, I think this is a film that you might be interested in watching. The fifth film in the series is called Katope by Walt Mzengi from Tanzania. In the film, we see a young girl who is prepared to go the extra mile to save her community from the drought, and even if it means losing her own life in the process. This film kind of shows that community and how it relies on, let's say, nature to survive.
Rain is a sign of good fortune, so I can understand how it works through this film.
Because water is so important, it's also connected to some kind of spirituality. Like, let's say when water is not there, the rain is not there, then I think the community kind of thinks like we should invoke some kind of spiritual powers too, to ask the gods to bring water. So this film also explores those imaginations around that kind of subject.
The storyline is quite simple, and but the videographies and the frame, because it's not like 60:9, it's 4:3.
I think so.
Something. So it shows some different experimental images when I saw it. It also didn't really showing how the child make it the rain comes. It shows more some rooms to think about how it works.
Yeah, like towards the end, I'm like, are they going to sacrifice the child to bring the rain? You don't see it, but as an audience, you provoked into that kind of thinking. But anyway, we are not saying that it was shown. One takeaway in the film, it's the shortest among all the 6 films.
Yeah.
Only, I think, timeline is 13 minutes. So that makes it very easy to, watch it, join the dots very fast. Yeah, I think I like that aspect.
Yeah, you will love the color and the framing when you see it. Definitely. And the 6th and the final film is Mamlambo by Kobisa Yako from South Africa. So the mystical river goddess Mamlambo watches over the holy waters of discarded bodies. That's the storyline.
I think in Africa we have this thing about water, motherhood. They are kind of connected in many societies, and this story is from Zulu community, by the way. And Mamlambo, I'm told, is the goddess of the rivers. So by combining the concept of water with motherhood, so we see that clearly in this film. But then it challenges this refuge that we see with gender-based violence against women. So in this film, if you have the women being the custodians of everything related to life, then why does society direct some violence towards them,
And I like how they reimagine the goddess with the specific elements of Zulu culture. So that's one of the points you can also enjoy.
The local language is quite strong in this one.
Right.
You feel the locality of it.
Yeah.
You feel the nature, the
Yeah.
water. Okay guys, so that's what we had to say about each of those films, but we have a general summary of everything put together.
I always used to see Africa through some movie, media or shows, but mainly corrupted politics or refugee or colonized history, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But through these films, I can see the different perspective of African narrative. I can learn new things, new culture, new conventions from the story.
Some of these folktales are not actually in print, They are passed down through oral literature, and I think it's nice to have them filmed like this. It's a nice way to preserve some of these folktales that we have in Africa. So this is just season 1. We are asking Netflix and UNESCO to do season 2, season 3, season 4, and keep it going.
And you know, these kind of traditional convention are not stick to the past. It still connects to the current issues and current agenda. Like they're focusing on women empowerment.
Yeah.
So they raise the issues of gender-based violence. Also, all the characters are led by a female.
Yeah. Also, these films, main character is a female.
Yeah.
Okay?
The other points, I can see some common elements,
Yeah.
such as some costumes or some local environment. Yeah, there's still some similarities. Yeah.
On that subject of similarity, I remember a scene in Halima's Choice from the Nigerian director. There's a corn hung above some cooking place, and I can tell you for a fact that in West Kenya, where I'm from, we have the same way of preserving corn above the fireplace.
Oh.
So it reminded me of my home in Kenya. So anyone who's watching this film from anywhere in Africa, you will definitely see some parts that kind of reminds you of something in your own country.
Yeah, but not only about those kind of physical elements, but also about spiritual thing like
good
water,
point.
like those kind of thing. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the support of UNESCO and Netflix, African directors get a full control to make their own narrative.
African stories are being almost fully controlled by African creators. So that's the way to go. We want more of these moving forward.
But I want to also say that there was HBO Asia series was launched in 2019. They pick up some different directors from different countries in Asia, but that was mainly about horror. In this African folktales series, you can see more different varieties. So that's kind of different reference. Okay.
Give me my phone. I need to call Netflix right now.
I want to see it in Korea.
The film is actually not available in some countries, including Korea.
Yeah. But I believe these kind of contents will really impact on the different continents and culture to know more about Africa and connect to the different culture.
Fingers crossed, Netflix.
Yeah.
Please do more and open up the the viewership to the whole world.
Yeah.
Let us know what is the folktale in your own local community. If you're from Africa, write the name, where you're from, and let us know. Yeah.
I'd like to know more.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's been nice having you guys.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for watching today.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Josh.
My name is Hesu.
And this is Afrohada Pop Review.
Welcome.
Just like that.
Yeah.